How you doing? So, earlier I made a video saying why I'm making a tier list, and this is going to be Rinoxp gaming tier list. This is not going to be season tier list. This is my tier list. So the reasons why I'm making a tier list is to inspire people to make their own tier list. Don't go by anybody's tier list. Don't go by Season's tier list or anybody else's tier list. So this is my tier list, and hopefully, if you're a YouTuber, or if you're not a YouTuber, no, you have your top 10 best champion in MCOC. I would like to hear your comments, who your top 10 is, and hopefully this will inspire other YouTubers to make a tier list on their own, not somebody else's, go by somebody else's tier list. This is why I'm making a Rinoxp gaming tier list. So, if you're looking for Quake or Ghost, this is not going to be in that list. Just letting you know, because this is my tier list. This is not anybody else's tier list. So here we go. This is my top 10 Rinoxp gaming tier list. So number 10 is Aegon. Aegon is, I would say, arguably the best and probably the best champion in the game when it comes to long fights. Fully ramped up, Aegon is just unstoppable. I know Angela with Odin Synergy is, you know, you can make an argument after so many fights. Angela will obviously be better than Aegon, but overall, I think Aegon is the best champion when it comes to long fights. I did a entire completion in LOL with a 4-star Aegon, just using a 4-star Aegon. Think about that. I think he'll be higher in my list if I actually wanted to do Abyss, because he's probably the best option still. In Abyss, I don't see any other best option other than him when it comes to Abyss. He's really great for Abyss, even just a 5-star. So he's number 10 on the list. Number 9 on this list is Doctor Doom. Doctor Doom is a really good champion. If you're a skill player, you're not a very skilled player, I think he's a good champion. He's not the easiest champion to play with, but he's definitely not the hardest champion in the game with. I've been able to complete a lot of stuff with Doctor Doom. The only reason why he's not higher on my list is because he's not suicide mastery friendly. So if I don't have synergies that can what is that, with liquid courage and double edge, negate those, he doesn't last very long. He doesn't have any way to, he doesn't have any immunities to bleed and poison, and he doesn't have regeneration. So that's the only reason why he's not higher in my list. But he does a lot of content for me as a rank 2 6-star, and especially if I have him synergized with Quake and Gold Deadpool. He does a lot of, he can do um, many fights. Without Nick Fury and Deadpool, he probably could last maybe 2 or 3 fights at most if I play really well, because he's not liquid courage and double edge friendly. You eventually lose his health from block damage, or taking hits, or just from suicide masteries. So he is number 9 in my list, but overall I think he's a good champion. So number 8 in my list is Nick Fury. Nick Fury, I'm not currently running deep wounds, but man, if you're running deep wounds, he could do some serious damage. So you gotta make sure the opponent is not bleed immune. If the opponent is bleed immune, then there goes his damage potential. But if you're running deep wounds and the opponent's not bleed immune, he can do some serious damage. I really like him for his synergy with Deadpool and Quake. He's probably the champion I bring the most in my team because of his synergy with Deadpool and Quake. Uh, I don't use him very much often though, as him using him because he's not liquid courage and double edge friendly. That's why he's only number 8 in my list. If he was like it has a regeneration or he was immune to bleed and poison, he's definitely gonna be higher on this list. But since he's not, he doesn't last very long in fight, especially because because he's not hasn't doesn't have any immunities or no, or any regeneration. But I use him a lot in my team. Probably the most champion I use in any team because of his synergy with Quake and Deadpool. So he's definitely a good champion for synergy purposes, as well as it's just a champion overall, in my opinion. So let's go with number 7. So who's number 7 on this list? It's going to be Warlock. Warlock, I think, is one of the best tech champions in the game. There's no question about it. I have him at number 2 right now, and as the best tech champion in the game. He's really good. Immune to poison and bleed, so you can run double edge and liquid courage. He does have some small regen in his SP3, but it's not much. But he does. It's not very difficult to use. Like suicide mastery friendly. Very nice. Has a lot of utilities. He's also immune to cold snap and frostbites, which is great against Iceman. He also has an armor up buff, which also great against Havoc. So overall, he's definitely one of my favorite champions to play with, and he's not a very difficult champion to use. I really like him, so that's why he's number 7 on the list. So let's go with number 6. So we know Nebula got a buff, and he's my first rank 3 6-star. I think Nebula to me is the best 6-star tech in the game, or tech in the game in general. Warlock, I say it's pretty close, but I say Nebula is the best tech champion in the game. She's my first 6-star rank 3. She's triple immunity. She's immune to poison, bleed, and shock. She has ability to regen. If she gets hit, she could do some serious damage with her SP2, and she's definitely not difficult to use. Before she got buffed, she was definitely not beginner friendly. It really takes a lot of skills to play her. Now the fact that they buffed her with her SP3, it makes her really easy to use now, and she could be able to still do serious damage. She's now shock immune. She's suicide mastery friendly, being immune to bleed and poison. She regens when if he gets hit. So it does a lot of damage. So I like Nebula. So he's number 6 in my list. So let's go with number 5. So you're probably wondering, when it comes to these champions, what if you're a beginner? Like you don't know which tier list to go to, which champions to rank. My list is really a very beginner friendly, and I would say the top 5 of this list are very beginner friendly. So let's go with the top 5 in this list. So let's go with number 5, Angela. Angela is one of my favorite champions to use. She's, I would say, top 5, maybe top 6, number 6 when it comes to the cosmic class. I would say she's top 5 in the cosmic class because of she's so easy to use. And with Odin synergy, when it comes to long fights, 20 and above, and definitely 30 and above, if there's ever such a thing, she's the best champion in the game. There was this section in 6.1, I believe, where I just pretty much soloed the entire quest, completion, almost entire exploration just using her. And the fact that I did like 35 fights, 34 out of 35 fights I just used Angela. And not only that, she finished with 100% health. The last 4 fights I used her, she finished all those 4 fights with 100% health. That's why she's so good. Um, After like 30 fights, because she just has so much regen and she can hit super hard, and her armor up potency is like makes her like a tank. Combine her regeneration, her armor up, and then her precision, her fury. After 30 wins, oh man, there's just no stopping her. She's so good after 30 wins with the Odin synergy. So you need to have at least a 4-star. Keep that in mind for the Odin synergy, and you need at least a 5-star to be able to take her to Act 6 or 7. But she's very simple to use. My first Realm of Legends uh, itemless completion run, I did it with Angela, and I only used her, and I soloed all 11 fights using Angela itemless. Super easy to use, a lot of fun to play with, in my opinion. And let's go with number 4 on this list, Cable. Actually, not just Cable, I want to be more specific. Horseman Cable. Horseman Cable has, I've done a lot of solo videos in LOL when it comes to Horseman Cable. Horseman Cable can cheese like call drop fights. He's great for Biohazard. He was like my MVP when it comes to like Variant 2, where he's pretty much limited to throwing heavies. The fact that he was only limited to throwing heavies, he was still my MVP, which shows you how easy he is to use and how good he is as a Horseman Cable. You don't necessarily needs to be a horseman. You just need Apocalypse synergy, but I think even being a horseman makes him really, really OP. Just give him that added bonus. Being 100% bleed immune, he becomes like, he just cheeses like cow drops. Any type of bleed nodes, he just cheeses. Best option in the quest by a mile, especially with cow drops. I think he'll be higher in this list if I had a 5 or 6-star Apocalypse, but I've been trying to get 5 or 6-star Apocalypse, but still no luck. That's all I could say with that. So let's go with Cable number 5. So who's number 4 in my list? Yeah, number 4 in the list. Where you at? There you go. Groot. Groot is a beast. He was already good before he got buffed, but he's just like so much better. His damage is like nearly doubled. He's now immune to power drain, power burn, and he can, like, his SP2 now deals, since robots are immune to poison, his damage is tripled because they're immune to poison. So he's just really, really so much better now post buff. But not only that, and his regeneration has always been his big key, but now he has damage to back it up. And they give him immunity to power drain and power burn, which is great against tech champions mostly, and some of them are robots. So he's really a great champion against robot. Not very difficult to use. Once in a while you want to throw in a heavy, but other than that, very easy to use. Especially for beginners, if you don't have access to liquid courage and willpower, very, very good champion to use. I remember doing 6.2 completion. I soloed 6 fights with King Groot, and not only that, after my 6 fights, I finished with 100% health. That's how good he is. That's how tanky he is. He can shrug up debuffs, which is great, because I was up against what's his name, Void, and he just great champion against Void. So he's number 3 in the list, King Groot. So we're now the top 2. So top 2 in my list. Where you at? So there you go. Corvus is just so good. I mean, he was my MVP in Alliance Quest, Alliance War, um, back in the days. He's still really good champion, especially if you can beat the opponent with one SP2. You don't have to wait for the glaive charges to come back. He's just so good. He's not very difficult to use. He's actually very easy to use. Um, Definitely like one of the best champions in the game, no doubt. In my opinion, the best cosmic champion in the game. And I think a lot of beginners who have Corvus, they're gonna have a good, like, gonna have a great time, because he's really just overall easy champion to use. He can hit really hard. That's why he's done a lot of completion for me. It's mostly uncollected, where I just solo the entire quest just using Corvus, and he does it so fast too. So that's what's so great about Corvus, because he's so fast. Like, he can beat opponents just like that. It's easy to use as well. So when it comes to my best champion in the game, for me, is Diablo. Diablo is just so good, man. He can, like, I've used auto fight with a 5-star. I was able to solo 7 straight fights using auto fight with a 5-star. Uh, it's crazy. I almost got to 8 straight fights. I almost soloed Scarlet Witch, and she was just like 5 or 10% health, something like that. That almost 8 straight fights using auto fight with in Realm of Legends with a 5-star. That's how good Diablo is. The best buff, in my opinion, in the game. Definitely, no question, best buff in 2021. It's not even close. And I'll be showing a lot of champions that got buff in 2021. I'll compare them to Diablo, just to show you how good Diablo is. Diablo is so good, man. He was the one that defeated the champion boss for me, the one who I had a hard time beating for the longest time. He's done a lot of completion for me. I have so many videos of Diablo, even as a 3-star or a 4-star Diablo. He's really beginner friendly, and he's even better with, it's definitely much better with liquid courage and if you're and willpower. So if you have access to those, you know, he's really just amazing champion. And I will be doing a comparison of like the buff champions this year, and after that I'll be doing a buff champions overall from the past years, just to show you how good he is. And he's just amazing champion. So that's it. Those are my top 10 best champions in the game. And I'm gonna be, like I mentioned, I'll be doing a comparison when it comes to buff champions this year and years past. And I'm probably gonna be giving the other champions more advantage. You know, like put a synergy team again with the other champions to compare the buff champions this year, just to show you how good Diablo is compared to the other buff champions this year. So that's it for my top 10 best champions in the game. Thank you.